It's LBI Region Report time, and Lori, I don't know about you, but as the weather heats up, we were saying earlier in the month, saying warming up. No, it is starting to heat up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's going to be some things on the horizon, some samba, something to do with samba.
All
I think we're
sorts
going
of
to
great
all
things.
good things.
And
Yeah.
when you think of good weather, you think of rooftop, and we have the perfect guest.
Oh, yes.
Perfect guest coming on this morning. But I do want to remind everybody that we have our Women in Business coming up April 28th, and it is the Residence at Stafford is our host. It's going to be a bright morning of conversation featuring Meals on Wheels. We're going to be talking about Meals on Wheels in Ocean County with their director, Heather. And we're also going to be talking about, of course, the great work that Residence in Stafford does and the options, the supportive options for families as loved one ages. So that's all part of how we're participating. Of course, May is Older Americans Month. So we're kicking off that with our friends at Meals on Wheels and the Residence at Stafford. So that's coming up April 28th. It's at 10 a.m. Residence at Stafford is at 1274 Route 72 in Manahawkin. You do need to be a member and you do need to RSVP. Of course, go to visitlbiregion.com to get in on that because it's just a great morning of connection. And again, this is a very meaningful one. We're really excited to really launch into spring with such an important messaging from these just great women leaders that help us keep our families together and our neighbors safe. So I did promise rooftops. And I am very
Shout it
excited.
from the rooftop.
Yes, we're going to shout it from the rooftops because we're really excited. We have Pete Palladino. He is Director of Restaurant and Hotel Operations for Fearless Restaurants. That's Daddy-O and Tucker's Tavern to us in Southern Ocean County. And there was a lot for Pete to be shouting at the rooftops about. 20 years. Their anniversary is just, it's unbelievable that Daddy-O is 20 years and what a difference it's made to Long Beach Island experience and to us in Southern Ocean County. So congratulations, Pete, to you and your team, because I know we had a lot. We had Sandy, we had COVID, we had renovations. There's been a lot since that ribbon cutting 20 years ago. And you guys just keep coming out on top, and we really want to congratulate you and bring you as much fanfare as we can for the success and so many memorable things that you've been able to provide to our visitors and our friends and family from, of course, Daddy-O and Tucker's as well.
Thanks. I mean, look, restaurants have, like any other business, have a life, and so for us to have so far a 20-year run since we opened the doors here at Daddy-O is like it's pretty exciting because and the good thing I always tell people is like LBI gives the businesses here, the seasonality of LBI gives the businesses here really an extended life because every year you kind of get to like you do your thing, you get to recoil and kind of reinvent yourself and figure out all the things that you did right, all the things you did wrong, and then relaunch it again in the following year. And so hopefully over the course of the last 20 years, we've gotten better. That's been the goal. Tucker's has been, last year was our 10th anniversary. So this is season number 11 for Tucker's. And, I don't have to tell you guys, LBI is a pretty special place.
It is.
So
and
it's pretty fun to be part of that ecosystem.
But, the destination of Long Beach Island requires that hospitality. It requires that professionalism, that experience. And, Fearless does deliver that. And, and that's what keeps people, when we talk about people coming back, when you talk about, I need that escape. I mean, that's essentially they're escaping to you. That's part of that core memory or that great meal or that wedding that they went to or that event that they had there. And again, I had talked about rooftops because, there's, access on both these properties, stunning views, world-class service, great food. It extends us. It extends what we're offering, who we're reaching out to, and why they're coming back again and again. And you need that pattern, that routine of a Daddy-O and Tucker's. And 20 years is really something that we can celebrate with you. And I know you're having something special you're doing a special summer kickoff happening on June 25th.
So we are. So, our we're very lucky here that we've like, I talked about the ecosystem here, and it's like when you get down to the core of it, it's a tight-knit community. And so uh we knew we were coming up on 20 years. And so a couple of years ago we launched a partnership with Jetty. Jetty does all of our merchandise and good friends of ours. And so we've done some events with them in the past. So we're partnering that with them to do this 20th anniversary kind of celebration kickoff to summer on the 25th. So there's going to be all sorts of good stuff here. One of the things that we've done with Jetty is every year we do a summer specific collaboration t-shirt.
Oh, that's
And
great.
that's for sale at both the places. So both Daddio and Tucker's has their own shirt that we do with the designers over at Jetty. And it's like, it's a fun way to commemorate, a summer on LBI. Because I think, like I said before, people come here for that terroir of LBI. And
Hmm.
it's nice they go home and they take it back to Philadelphia or New York or wherever they're going back to. And it's like, that's their little piece of summer. And so for us as a hospitality company, it's always been our goal to like, how do we embed ourselves in to the guest's memory that we are so lucky to have with us for the summertime and even, whether it be on the shoulder seasons for weddings. And that's just every day creating new regulars and creating memories. And so we're very happy to be able to celebrate.
Well, I know you always keep things fresh with your menus, with your cocktails, with your events that you have. And of course, collaborating with Jetty's very creative as well. So I'm
Yeah.
sure you're going to deliver a great 20th anniversary experience with them. So, I mean, I know Daddio has had a renovation as well. And I mean, it looks fantastic. It is, that core, um, beach vibe that people are craving, right? Even
Yeah.
if you're only an hour away. I mean, we have plenty of residents that live on the mainland that, sometimes you want to just get away. And where would you go? Where's a place that's going to give you that ultimate destination feeling? And, certainly, let's talk a little bit about, what that renovation meant to you and what you were expecting people's reactions to it.
Sure. So we've had some forced renovations here due to Hurricane Sandy.
Oh
We've
yeah,
had
I
some,
remember that.
that was like we all got to renovate all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
and then we had some other renovations that were not planned that were a pipe burst in the winter, and all of a sudden you're redoing the dining room again. Luckily those are long past us. When we renovated after Sandy, I think, when we opened in 2006, I think we missed the mark a little bit, and it was a little bit too metropolitan for what we were. I think we just missed the mark. So when we renovated after Sandy, we had the opportunity to tear it all apart because we had to anyway, and start fresh. And I think, that's when Daddy really embraced its retro surf vibe. I
Mhm.
mean, like behind me, there's all these, retro surf pictures in all of our dining rooms. And then we had the opportunity over the past couple of years we renovated all of our hotel rooms upstairs, which is 22 rooms up there. So, all new wallpaper and art and bedding and beds, and like basically just tore it apart and said, what can we do better? And that's what's fun about getting to reinvent yourself, because we do have that opportunity every year, like I said before. And so, we're excited. I think that when you come to LBI, when I first moved here, I moved here from Philadelphia.
Mhm.
And so we were running restaurants here, and I don't think they were trying to give me a backhanded compliment. I think that they were earnest in what they were saying, but they said, this is such an awesome restaurant for the shore. And I was
Right.
like, why is it qualified? You know what I mean? Like it just got to be an awesome experience. And that's what we're always shooting for at both of our places is, I want people to come here, and because it's the beach doesn't mean it has to be fried flounder and,
Right.
you know,
It's
mushy
elevated. It's
vegetables.
elevated, but it's also organic. I mean, it also represents what natural, the ingredients that are here, but you do have a
Right.
spin on it. And and that retro vibe, that mid-century modern vibe, a lot of people, whether they're nostalgic for it or not, it does give that sense of vacation. It's like what people think of when they think of the shore. But to have it remodeled and renovated so you're not in that dated space but in a new version of it, I mean, that's
Yeah.
again, that's what keeps people wanting to come back. So, I really need to get away, and people do need to get away. I mean, that's it. And we're within, 90 minutes from Manhattan, an hour, 15 from Philly, and everywhere in between, and a great stop through. Whether you're passing to even go to another shore destination.
Yeah.
We're right in the middle. We're actually at the heart of the shore. So great reason to just sort of do a little bit of a, it's 20 years, let's check out what Daddy-O's got going on, whether you stay for a night or whether you stop in for a cocktail or for dinner. Definitely put it on your radar because it's a unique experience. And I know, I was talking about the outdoor dining because it's so crucial to the shore experience. And I know,
Yes.
you have that great patio out back, out the
Mhm.
side, and then you have the top, and then Tucker's also is just tremendous. What you've done to that outdoor dining as well.
We sit, no matter where you are in LBI, you're pretty close to either the ocean or the bay.
Hmm.
And so down in Beach Haven at our property, Tucker's down there, we sit right on the bay. There is like a small little street that just separates us. But, there's no better view. And I don't know about you, when I'm at the beach, it's like all I want to do is be outside and be looking at the water. So when we built Tucker's, after we took over in 2014, we initially didn't have a rooftop element to that. It was
Hmm.
just our outside deck there. And this was kind of an add-on feature that has really changed the dynamic of the guest experience over there because I feel like, there are times at Tucker's where the entire inside of the building is empty and the rooftop,
Yep,
and all of our outsides are just packed. And it's like, that to me is like what the shore experience is about.
it is.
Um, Daddio was the first rooftop bar here on LBI, and it just sprung out of the desire to be outside,
Yeah.
and it's just
Get
like,
those
and now,
views, get the breeze, and
right.
feel like you've arrived, right? You've arrived at
Yes.
at what
Yeah.
at whatever
And what I love
place
about,
you need to be.
Daddio and Tucker's is like, and the demographic here on LBI is like, you've got people that are sitting out in the garden or sitting up on the rooftop at Tucker's, you know, in bare feet and a t-shirt,
That
that
casual
are like
love. Yep.
CEOs of, Fortune 500 companies, just relaxing and enjoying what it is that we have to offer here. And it's like, people always ask what our demographic is, and I was like, it's 8 to 80, and
Yeah.
everywhere in between.
Yeah. And I mean, and it is, and people soak it in. And there is a love for Long Beach Island. There is a love for that environment. I used to say it's the closest thing to California we have in New Jersey. I mean, it's just that relaxed atmosphere. There's
Yeah.
no boardwalk, there's no center. You can, and there's different towns have different flavors. And just so
Mhm.
everyone knows, Daddy-O's is in Brant Beach, and as Pete said, Tucker's is down in Beach Haven. So two different experiences.
Yeah, very
You
different.
know,
And that's why it keeps it exciting for me and my partner Jeff Alberti, who like we oversee both, and it's like they're very, very different. Yes, it's the same island, but it's a different experience. And
different feel.
you know, there's people that will come to Daddio that are like, oh, I'm not going all the way to Beach Haven. It's only 4 miles away.
Right.
You
But
know,
that's it. You don't want to you park that car and you want to take, like you said, the shoes off and you just want to
right.
relax. And we're happy to have that. So I know that you have some great beer collabs with one of our members, Manafirkin, and
Yeah,
that's exciting. I mean, local beer. So,
yeah.
again, is that something that you've recently started?
So we did this a couple years ago, and this was like this idea sprung out of, us trying to figure out how we could work closely with some of our friends and our partners that were just, trying to do the same thing that we're doing. And so we knew the folks over at Manafirkin, and they came up with this idea, let's brew a beer for each of your places. And so we went down and went through all the tasting process. And, again, it's about that taste of place,
Mm-hmm.
and that sense of place where it's like, so down at Tucker's, it's called Shut Up and Drink, is our IPA down there. And here at Daddio, it's called Who's Your Daddy? And they're
Oh,
both
that's
uh,
great.
hazy IPAs. They're different. They're, easy drinking, but it's like, it was fun to create that out of, nothing. And it's like, here's something that didn't exist before we put this collaboration in place. And we're very lucky that, going back to something that you said previously, it's like we here on LBI are so lucky that we get to work with, you know, great brewers right over on the mainland,
Mhm.
great fisheries up in Barnegat Light where we get all our scallops and our tuna and our flounder from.
Delicious.
We work with the Barnegat Oyster Collective as well. That is like they go out there and, there's a lot of times in our restaurants where you're eating oysters that were in the water that morning,
Yeah.
so it's like we're
It's the
very lucky.
best. Yeah. I mean, the resources that we have, and again, the talent that we have
Hmm.
is really, I think, what keeps the business community just always astonishing. When people come back, whether they are second homeowners, whether they're residents, or whether they visit once a year, there's a tick list of things that they want to do over the summer,
Yes.
and we always try to make sure that they're aware of all these new things. And one of the new things, because we're so close to May, is your new menu.
Mhm.
So, what are you planning?
So every year, I mean, we're very lucky that it's like, we print menus in-house. And so we're looking and really relying on the seasonality of what's fresh in the water, what's fresh in the farms. And so every May, it's like, we're launching into our summer menu. So it's like, you know, scallops again, flounder and tuna and lots of corn and tomatoes from inland. It's like, so, we have our cores that are on all of our menus that people come for, but, there are probably a third of the menu gets changed out 3 times a year.
Okay.
And it's a fun opportunity. We have some really talented culinary chefs in both spots that are, uh, they love to find new ways to present the local ingredients that we're working with. So, you know, we're still in the process of doing menu development, which is the best part of my job. I get to eat all this food.
Oh
It's like,
my goodness. Well,
yeah,
that is definitely something I could help you with.
I'll call you.
That's always a good meal. Always a good meal at both these restaurants. So I also want to talk about something that you established, the Daddy-O Wine Club, which
Yes,
again, maybe we could talk a little bit about what that means.
sure. So this idea sprung out of the idea of we spend so much time digging through and finding these gems, whether it be from some of our purveyors or places that we visited that we drank, a certain wine that now we have a connection to, and just wanting to share that with people.
Mhm.
So we created this thing called the Daddy-O Wine Club. So once a month, on the first Friday of every month, we've got our friend Nick Davidson, who's like a master som, come in, and he hosts these things. And so it's $50. You get to taste 6 different wines, and we pair them all with small plates from our kitchen. And just it's a really great experience because there's no better way to like start a Friday night than trying all these different wines that you would never try before. And then we've got them for sale, and Nick's a riot. So it is really entertaining. And we'll take a break for the summer where we're just like crazy busy, and then we pick it up again in like I think November, and then we go all the way through the winter. But it's it's been just like a fun way that there's this community of people, and in this room that I'm sitting here, it's like it's packed with people that are all just looking for the next great wine.
And I mean, I know there's a lot of information that we covered. So why don't we talk about how people could get in touch with Daddy-O and Tucker's, your websites, your social,
Sure.
because they want to stay connected as these different opportunities come up, because you always have something exciting going on. What's the best way for them to stay connected?
I mean, we always have things on our websites, which is very easy. It is Tucker's Tavern
Mhm.
LBI.com. And Daddio is very easy, DaddioLBI.com. And through them, you can get to our socials, and you can follow us on there and sign up for our mailing list. I mean, we have a pretty good social media team that's like pushing things out always, and just trying to get the word out there. And it is, look, I know it's information overload out there in the world, and you're just trying to wade through what's good. But um, it's fun to be able to share these things. And I think once people see, especially on the Instagram and
Mhm.
those kinds of things, it's like I think once you see what we're doing, it's like you want to be involved.
Right. I
That's
mean,
the
it's
goal.
another way again to just get people that are interested to just become a little bit more in touch. And I
Mhm.
know when we first started, I had mentioned Fearless Restaurants. There's a lot going on with Fearless.
Yeah,
Did you want to just touch a little bit about the parent organization?
sure. So we have our parent company is called Fearless Restaurants. We have two restaurants down here, which is Tucker's Tavern and Daddy-O Restaurant and Hotel in Philadelphia, and then on the outskirts in the suburbs, there's another 12 stores.
Yeah,
We just opened up a wonderful spot called Triple Crown, which is a awesome restaurant,
fantastic.
awesome
I, I,
steakhouse
I had
restaurant.
the opportunity to go right in the, it's
Oh, you did
by the
great.
Radnor Hotel, right? It's like
Yep.
right in that area. Fantastic. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's super fun. And
really,
that's
and
going to be this enormous event space outside. So we can do weddings for like, 1,200 people. And it's just like it's fun to be with a group that is never really sitting back and resting on our laurels. I mean, I started with Fearless back in 2003. And so, I've been on LBI now for 20 years. I moved here when we opened Daddio. And it's like, every day is a great adventure and what can we do next? And that's why we love doing what we do.
well, so certainly reach out, follow, Daddy-O, Tucker's, learn about if you're happen to be in the Philadelphia area, the mainline area, find out about some of the restaurants that they have going on there. You'll be pretty impressed about
Mhm.
their lineup and what they offer. But of course, when you're here, Daddy-O for, you want to get a great getaway. You're open, Pete. What's your timeline when the hotel is open, and the restaurants? Is it year round? Can we
So
say?
the restaurant's open year round. The hotel is open year round, from October through, call it April. We're open on just the weekends.
Okay,
And once we hit May, we're open every single day.
right. And it's
Same thing
again.
with Tucker's, 370,
I
365.
mean, as Pete said, you could take your shoes off and you could walk down to the beach. You can, there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
A great location. So please check it out. And again, if you have special anniversary, special things, join in with their 20th anniversary and take part of some of the good times that they have coming up. So thank you so much. Congratulations to your team,
Thank you
to
very much.
everybody at Fearless. The Chamber's so happy that, we've had this relationship with you for 20 years. And we're so
Yeah.
grateful to you all for that. So we're really excited to cheer you on in this great summer that's coming up.
Thanks for all the good work you guys do. It's like it's wonderful. Like I said, we've known you for 20 years,
It's
Laura.
been a
So
long time.
it's pretty great. I'm glad you're still doing what you're doing because this place would not be the same without you, I gotta tell
Well, we appreciate you. So
you.
thank you so much.
Anytime. I'll see you guys
Take
soon.
care.
Bye.
Bye bye. So yeah, lots of great and exciting things. We do have again coming up some business to discuss. After hours happening May 7th, Samba into Summer. That is at Seacrest and Little Egg Harbor. We're going to be having a fantastic business after hours. With food and drink and giveaways and samba demonstrations, all benefiting interfaith senior and support services. It's $30. It's just going to be a fun night out. And again, as we head into that sunnier stretch of the year, why not have a little bit of that dynamic evening? So excited for that. That's coming up May 7th. And then, of course, because we're so excited about the spring, we also have a Hot Rod Hole in One hosted by the Jersey Shore Car Shows and in partnership with the Southern Ocean Chamber. And that's another great event. That's happening May 3rd at Little Egg Harbor, LBI National. And then we're having our World Watch Party weekend. We're kicking off getting that FIFA excitement into the summer. That is June 13th and 14th. World Class Business Watch Party. And then the Community Watch Party and Youth Soccer Showcase Sunday, June 14th. So more information about all of that. And again, just stay connected. Go to visitlbiregion.com because there's a lot of ways to get involved: sponsorship, tickets, registrations, learn more about what's going on in our local businesses. Follow us on social at Southern Ocean and LBI Region. And of course, if you ever need us, 609-494-7211. We're always happy to have that conversation.